In recent months, headlines have been dominated by new allegations and lawsuits involving Diddy, but the deeper story is how the entire music industry responds when powerful figures face public scrutiny. Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're exploring the public allegations surrounding Sean Diddy Combs and what they reveal about the larger structure of the music business. While the specific legal battles of one of hip-hop's most influential moguls are currently unfolding, this situation has sparked a much broader conversation about power dynamics, silence, and accountability within the entertainment world. There are many layers to this story, ranging from the specific claims made in court filings to the reaction of corporate partners and the general public. We are going to break down the timeline of events, the nature of the allegations, the official responses from Combs' legal team, and why this moment feels like a turning point for the industry as a whole. But first, it is essential to understand the sheer magnitude of the figure we are discussing. Because Sean Combs is not just an artist, for decades, he has been a foundational pillar of modern music culture. To understand the weight of these allegations, we first have to look at the empire that Sean Combs built. From the founding of Bad Boy Records in the early 90s to the development of huge lifestyle brands, Combs established himself as a figure who is arguably too big to fail. He was a gatekeeper, a tastemaker, and a business titan whose influence extended far beyond the recording studio. According to industry historians, his ability to mold careers created a dynamic where being in his orbit was often seen as a prerequisite for success. But here's where the story gets even more complex regarding the balance of power. When a single individual holds the keys to fame and fortune for so many aspiring artists, it creates an environment where dissent becomes dangerous. For years, rumors and whispers circulated within the industry, yet his public stature remained untouchable. This specific dynamic is central to understanding why the recent wave of lawsuits came as such a shock to the general public, even if insiders had heard stories for years. The conversation shifted dramatically in late 2023, beginning with a high-profile lawsuit filed by his former partner, Cassie Ventura. According to the court documents, which were settled just one day after being filed, Ventura alleged years of abuse and coercion. While the settlement included no admission of wrongdoing, and Combs' lawyers strongly denied the allegations, characterizing them as offensive and baseless, the filing cracked the dam. Following this settlement, multiple other individuals came forward with their own lawsuits, alleging various forms of misconduct dating back years. These filings, as reported by major news outlets, paint a disturbing picture of alleged exploitation. However, it is vital to remember that in the American legal system, a lawsuit is an unverified claim, and every defendant is presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Combs' legal team has consistently issued statements calling these subsequent lawsuits money grabs and vehemently denying that the events described ever took place. Think about that for a moment. We are watching a high-stakes legal battle where two completely different realities are being presented. One of a predator protected by wealth, and one of a wealthy target being exploited by false claims. But here's the surprising part that changed the public perception significantly. While civil lawsuits are often fought behind closed doors, the involvement of federal authorities brought the situation into the harsh light of day. In March 2024, Homeland Security investigations executed raids on Combs' properties in Los Angeles and Miami. The visuals of armed agents entering the mansions of one of the world's most famous men dominated the news cycle. According to law enforcement sources cited by various media outlets, this was part of an ongoing federal investigation. While no charges were immediately filed at the time of the raids, and Combs was not detained, the spectacle signaled that this was not just a civil dispute between private parties. His representatives called the raids a gross use of military-level force and maintained his innocence, stating that he was cooperating with authorities. This escalation moved the conversation from tabloid gossip to serious federal scrutiny, forcing the entire music industry to pay attention. This brings us to the complex issue of enablers and the machinery of the music industry. Many of the lawsuits allege that Combs did not act alone, but rather was supported by a network of employees and associates who facilitated his alleged behavior. This raises a difficult question about the culture of the entertainment business. In an industry driven by access and excess, where does the line between an employee and an accomplice blur? Critics of the industry point out that for decades, labels and management teams have often prioritized protecting their biggest earners over ensuring the safety of those around them. This is the part most people never hear about. It isn't just about one powerful man, it is about the ecosystem that relies on his revenue. When a figure generates hundreds of millions of dollars, there is a financial incentive for those on the payroll to look the other way. This structural silence is what many activists are now calling to be dismantled. And this next detail changed the conversation dramatically regarding the role of non-disclosure agreements, or NDAs. It is widely known that NDAs are standard practice in the entertainment industry, ostensibly to protect intellectual property and private business dealings. However, legal experts suggest that these agreements have frequently been weaponized to silence victims of harassment and misconduct. In the context of the allegations against Combs, questions have been raised about how many people may have wanted to speak out over the years but were legally bound to silence. This legal muzzling creates a vacuum where the only narrative the public hears is the one crafted by publicists. But as we have seen in the Me Too movement in Hollywood, and now potentially in the music industry, these agreements are facing new legal challenges. Legislators and advocates are increasingly arguing that NDAs should not be enforceable when they cover up criminal activity. We must also consider the reaction of the corporate world, which has been swift and decisive. In the wake of the allegations and the federal raids, many of Combs's business partners and platforms have moved to distance themselves. He stepped down as chairman of Revolt, the media company he founded, and sold his stake. Various brands and educational institutions have revoked honors or severed ties. This corporate distancing is a significant indicator of how toxic the allegations have become. In the court of public opinion, the presumption of innocence often does not apply to brand reputation. Companies act based on risk management, and the risk of being associated with these headlines was evidently too high. This rapid dismantling of his business portfolio serves as a stark reminder that in the modern era, legacy and reputation can be eroded almost overnight when serious allegations surface. But here's where the story gets even more complex: the role of social media and the court of public opinion. Unlike in previous decades, where the narrative was controlled by a few magazine editors and TV producers, today's audience is actively involved in the investigation. Following the news of the lawsuits, social media users began resurfacing old clips from reality shows, interviews, and behind-the-scenes footage involving Combs. In these clips, behavior that was once dismissed as eccentric or part of the rockstar lifestyle is now being re-examined through the lens of the current allegations. This crowdsourced scrutiny creates a phenomenon where the public feels they are seeing clues in plain sight. However, this also carries risks. Context is often lost in short viral clips, and public sentiment can swing wildly based on incomplete information. It highlights the tension between the slow, methodical pace of the legal system and the instant judgment of the internet. Comparisons are inevitably being made to other high-profile reckonings, such as the downfall of R. Kelly. For years, allegations against Kelly were an open secret in the industry, ignored until a documentary series forced the public and prosecutors to act. Many are asking if the music industry is facing a similar watershed moment with Combs. Why did it take so long for these allegations to reach this level of seriousness? Some cultural critics argue that the music industry, particularly hip-hop, has often been unfairly scrutinized by the mainstream, leading communities to be protective of their icons. Others argue that the industry simply lacks the HR structures and unions that exist in Hollywood, leaving young artists and employees particularly vulnerable. Most people don't realize this, but musicians and their entourages often operate as independent contractors, lacking the workplace protections that a standard corporate employee would have. The psychological aspect of these allegations is also profound. For many fans, these stories are difficult because they involve someone who shaped decades of music culture. Separating the art from the artist is an age-old debate, but it becomes visceral when the artist is as integrated into the fabric of pop culture as P. Diddy. Fans are forced to reconcile their nostalgia for the bad boy era with the disturbing claims in the court documents. This cognitive dissonance is uncomfortable, and it explains why online reactions range from fierce defense of Combs to absolute condemnation. Emotional resonance beats like this are important. It is not just about a celebrity, it is about the soundtrack of people's lives being tainted by the possibility of dark truths. As the legal processes move forward, the strategy of Diddy's legal team will be crucial to watch. They have indicated they plan to fight these cases aggressively in court. They argue that the accusers are looking for a payday and are exploiting the current climate of guilt by accusation. This defense strategy relies on discrediting the witnesses and highlighting inconsistencies in their stories. In civil court, the burden of proof is lower than in criminal court. It is based on a preponderance of the evidence, meaning it is more likely than not that the events occurred. However, if federal criminal charges are eventually brought, the standard becomes beyond a reasonable doubt. This distinction is vital. We are currently seeing a mix of civil filings and a federal investigation, and the outcomes of these two tracks could be very different. Furthermore,